Hi everybody, welcome to Demask Us Part 3. I want to share with you today, I have 3 topics in mind. I have discernment, dreams, and direction. And I really feel like we are heading into some times where we've got to have these 3 things. I'm getting a number of dreams from people. They're disturbing, they're troubling, some truth, elements of truth in them. However, a lot of them are from, just fear. They're just fear-based. When you take a dream class, I have this beginner dream class that we're getting ready to do, and we talk about the 3 places where dreams can come, either from yourself, from God, or from a lie. And so really what we're dealing with is we're dealing with a combination of a lot of places where these dreams are taking root. We are ourselves, and we have things that roll around on the inside of us. A lot of them are just from news topics that we hear about or things that we've been listening to. But what we need to develop right now, most importantly, is discernment. We've got to have discernment. We have to be able to know what is going on, where it's coming from, and what we do with the information that we're being given. God is speaking right now. He's really talking to us. There's a lot of things that I feel like we need to come to terms with, all right? One is that we've been lax. The reason why we're seeing the kinds of things going on right now in the world that we've been seeing is because we've been lax. We've been inside the church. We've been, I call it greenhoused, right? So we, like tomatoes, they're greenhouse. They're just all growing inside the church. However, we've got to be present. And if you know what I do, you know that I've gone into many, many places where the church was not present at all. And it felt like that it was gathering a large group of people, very large group of people, a lot of millennials, a lot of young people, in places where people were taking liberties to discover truth based on their own terms. It wasn't always truth. It was just what they believed to be truth, because what they went to church for, what they tried to find, and their conception of God or understanding of God didn't meet them at the point where they could understand or they could hear. They didn't have an encounter. They didn't come into a place where they could hear God. They knew that they didn't even know if he was real, okay? And I can speak to that because I was the same way. I mean, I met Jesus when I was 20 years old, and it was literally supernatural. I mean, I didn't even think God existed. And so, I can identify with people that are seeking right now. And so dreams are one way that God is reaching into the hearts of people. We're hearing many, many testimonies of people that are getting born again. Jesus is appearing to them in a dream. That's not man-made. That's not like persuasive speech. It's not something that people are just coming up with. What is happening is they're literally having a divine encounter with Jesus in a dream, okay? And so when we talk about discernment, I'm talking about dreams that we're hearing on the internet. I know people have addressed, my good friends, Doug Addison and Patricia, and different people have addressed the dreams coming from Pastor Dana out of Kentucky. I listened to those dreams. People sent me those dreams. I had all that. And there were levels of things that we could have taken. And I think Doug addressed it really well. He said, we've got to watch how we take everything in, the whole ball of wax. We do know that there's troubled times that are going to be coming. They're already here. I mean, it's not a joke. But I do want you to realize that you've got to develop discernment. We talked about before in one of the podcasts where when Jesus was approached by the disciples and they said to him, hey, what's going to be the sign of your return? Tell me what's going to happen. What's going on? It's going to be, he said, make sure, the very first thing out of his mouth is make sure that you're not deceived. Why would he say that, right? Why would he come up with that one of all things? Because there's going to be a lot of things that will come our way and will present itself as truth. Remember, Satan is the father of lies. He also comes as an angel of light to deceive many. So we've got to learn to discern what is God's voice, what is he saying, why is he talking to us, what is it that we need to take away from what he's telling us, and then obey that. Okay, when we have that sure voice of what God's instructing us to do, then we don't move in fear, we move in faith, right? So we have strategies that are being given to us right now. There are things that are being instructed. We're literally being reformed. If we just think of yourself on a potter's wheel, right? And God's pouring water on you, and he's reshaping you for the culture we currently live in, not the culture that was in 1973. I mean, come on. It's like we're living in a world and a time right now where we got to get out of this churchy mindset thing and begin to engage culture. That's what Jesus did. He was all over the place. He was in everybody's home. He was eating with them. He was drinking with them and enjoying himself, but also presenting truth in a way. And when I say drinking with them, I'm talking about getting drunk. Okay, let's just, come on. We're talking about being accessible. He was very accessible to them. And he's the one that changed water to wine. So I don't know. Anyway, take that wherever you want. I don't drink wine. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. It doesn't like me. So we're there. But let's go with just talking about how he was accessible to people. He enjoyed himself. He enjoyed hanging around people that had ears to hear. You know, the ones who didn't have ears to hear were the religious. They were the ones that did not have ears to hear. They were the ones who, you know, they didn't need a healer. They didn't think they were sick, but they needed a healer more than they realized. So here we are in the midst of this situation, in the midst of the world that we're living in right now. And we've got to remember and think about, how are we going to be reformed? How are we going to be reshaped? How are we going to be revived? How are we going to understand what truth is? How are we going to learn to discern between the truth and the spirit of a lie? Okay, so that comes with practice. It comes with hearing God's word. It comes with spending time in his presence. It comes when you read the word and it makes sense to you and you begin to live it out and you walk it out. It comes through a lot of patience, you know, a lot of trial, tribulation, error, making mistakes, picking yourself back up, going again, learning how to discern the voice of God. God is not at all shaken or moved by us trying. You know, he's not, he's got a big shovel if we mess up. I can prove that one. He's got a big shovel if we mess up, but you got to give it a shot. You know, the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So he literally lives on the inside of you. So when you say, I can't prophesy, or I don't know how to prophesy, or I don't know how to give a word, or I don't have, you know, well, you've got to learn. You've got to start stepping out. You can always speak and talk about the promises of God. You can say to people out in the world, let me see what I think about you. I sometimes I get things about people. Sometimes I see things over people. Would you like me to tell you what I see? Because there's a light over you. And they'll go, oh, absolutely. Tell me what you see. And then you begin to give them, pull out the gold, pull the gold out of people. Tell them what their value is. Tell them how wonderful they are. They are all fearfully and wonderfully made. They've been misguided and misdirected. However, God is the one who will bring them, and the kindness of him will bring them to a place of change when they realize that he's real, when they realize that he's speaking, and when we can understand how to discern what is the truth that we need to say to them, or how we need to understand it for ourselves, even in dreams or anything else. The other thing I want to tell you is direction, because we're being given new marching orders, all right? Like I said before, we've gone into any number of events. We go to places nobody would go. And we started years ago. I've had 25 years of this. 25 years of going into the most weird places with people. And one of the, places, of course, was the Burning Man Festival. And I'm not going to belabor that. If you don't know what it is, look it up for yourself. Because everyone, I don't know what that is. Well, go look it up. Okay, but be careful, because there's a lot of stuff in there. But it had to do with a free expression lifestyle. And when I would share our stories of how we presented at camp, it was almost like we set up a table. in the middle of the whole entire festival in our theme camp, Freedom Lounge, and we fed people spirit food. We called it a spirit spa. And we said, we're finding the gold in you. We want to tell you your true identity. We want to tell you what you are about. We want to give you hope for your future. We want to take away labels. We want to get rid of all these tags and things people have put on you. We want to do heart healing. We want to heal your heart and bring you into an encounter with the Spirit of truth so that you can understand the truth, because the truth will set you free. And that's what they were looking for, is freedom. And we had so many people coming to our camp in the middle of a free-for-all, literally, of a carnival for the flesh, right? We had a free-for-all going on in that whole environment, yet we had a place where people could come and they could be set free. And they were coming in by the droves. They were. But every encounter was different. Every person that we talked to was different. Every way God wanted to reach a person was different. And he gave us language to fit the culture. Did you hear me? He gave us language to fit the culture. So it's important for us to learn the language now. And I used to have this discussion with my husband, Tim, because we pastored for so long. And he goes, well, a lot of people, you're training them and you're doing these boot camps and stuff, but they're not ever going to go to Burning Man. And I said, you're right. They're not probably ever going to go to Burning Man. However, the ideology and the mindset of Burning Man is infiltrating our whole nation and the world. It's this free mindset. It's this philosophies of men. It's humanism. It's universalism. It's all these different things. And if we, the church, don't understand how to encounter people, how to bring them in, and I love, I think it's Luke 14, where he talks about the parable of the great supper. It's either Luke 14 or Luke 17. I get my addresses mixed up. But anyway, he talks about the fact that there are people who you need to go out with the great supper. He said, go out now. If you read it in the New King James Version, it says, go out now and compel them to come in. And he gave 4 categories of people. He said the poor, the maimed, the lame, and the blind. And we've reached one, the poor. That's what we're doing. And that's great. That's exactly what we should be doing. But there's 3 or other categories of people who need to hear. We just have to find a way to compel them to come in, right? So this is where our discernment begins to kick in. This is when we learn to walk in step. How do we reach the maimed? They're unrecognizable. They don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. They don't know if there's a God. They don't know anything about him. They don't know. They're not seeking, really. They're just existing. They're using every kind of vice. They're using all kinds of drugs and different things in order. And I was there. I get it. I mean, I'm not shaming, putting down anybody. I mean, come on. We're all on a journey here. But there's the maimed, and they're unrecognizable. They're not going to trust you. They don't trust. They don't trust you. They don't trust anybody. You got to earn their trust. You have to earn the trust and the right to talk to them, okay? Then the other thing that happens is you've got the blind. They're wandering aimlessly. Without a vision, people perish. They die. They literally die without vision. They don't have any vision for themselves. They can't see. They don't know what's going on. They're bumping into everything. They're walking by their feelings. And feelings come and feelings go, which is part of the soul man, right? And so then you've got the lame. You've got the lame. Everything works except their legs. Okay, that's their walk. That means they're walking in something that isn't holding them up. It gives them no strength. It's new age. It's all kinds of the philosophies. It's all kinds of things that won't strengthen them. It won't give them anything to stand on when the troubled times come. And they need an anchor, and they need a rock, and they need a savior, and they need strength in their legs in order to walk. So there's a compelling factor with each one of these, all right? So as we're moving forward, there's 2 things that I did. I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn this camera down a second because I have on this shirt. Do you see this shirt? This is Mona Lisa. I love it. I wore it to Burning Man. It was one of my favorite shirts. Do you see that she has on the oxygen mask? She's got the oxygen mask on herself. And I thought it was appropriate, right? Because we have got a war against our kids right now and against our grandkids. This is the world they're stepping into. And in order, if you have ever been on a plane, which I know most of you have, there's a safety demonstration that comes on every single time, every plane you ever get on. And it says, if there is a drop in altitude, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Then you put it on your children, or you put it on the person next to you or your kids. That's what we've got to do. We have to put the oxygen mask on us first. We have to learn how to breathe again. You need to learn how to take deep breaths and chill out and remember that God is on the throne. He's got a move coming. We're already in it. He's getting ready to display wonders on this earth. Things are getting ready to really accelerate in a big way. He's also, according to Joel 2:28, pouring out dreams and visions on all flesh. That means people that do and don't know him. And they're getting God dreams. God said he's pouring out dreams. So we have to learn how to interpret correctly the dreams that God is pouring out. And remember, they'll probably be mixed. They'll have some mixture in there because they're learning, they're being given a message, but then their soul's going to kick in the dream and it's going to start telling it what to say or how am I supposed to interpret. That's called lucid dreaming and all these different things. So what I want you to do is begin to realize that we are in a whole new season. Your discernment is to learn God's voice, learn how he talks, learn what he says, learn what his character is, learn how he wants you to communicate, learn how he's talking to you, learn what he wants you to do. You're going to have an uneasy feeling if you're staying somewhere too long. If you're staying in the wrong place or if you're staying someplace too long, you're going to have an uneasy feeling about that. And it's not going to go away because God's trying to reposition you for something else. If you're hanging on to an old wineskin when God's trying to give you a new one, he wants to put new wine in there. He wants us to be able to communicate with this world because guess what? We are and have the answer. The government doesn't have the answer. Jesus has the answer. When we go into places and there's darkness and there's all this confusion and all this stuff and people don't know what they think or what they believe and they trust one another and they're blind guides, one leading another one. They don't even know what to think. We can get a hold of them at a moment's time, and this is what I train you to do. We get a hold of them in a moment's time and begin to communicate a brand new way of who they are and what they're meant to do and what we see about them. And God teaches us. I'm a seer, so I can literally see. I can see into the heart of a person. God taught me that years ago. He said, I don't look like man. I don't look on things like man does. I look on the heart. I look on the heart. So if we learn to look on the heart, God's going to show us their heart. And I can go back way into their life. We call it original root recovery. What were you meant for? What were you designed for? What was going on? Let's give you an organic spiritual alignment. Let's give you a brand new start, organic restart. Welcome to your new life, and let's give them a place where they can plug in because God's going to teach you as he's using you to communicate with other people. So we've got a great job to do. This is a brand new thing, man. This is something that we've already proven. We proved it out in the desert. We proved it at the adult convention. We proved it at the New Age conferences. We proved it at pagan events. We proved it at LGBTQ communities. We proved it. We showed we were there. We were open-armed. We were embracing. We were loving. We were kind. And we showed the goodness of God and light in dark places. But he gave us language, and I had to be completely reformatted in order to be able to do what I do right now. And now I'm training others how to do it. Dreams are going to be a big part of it. And your kids are dreaming, by the way. There's a target on them. Listen to me. There's a target on your kiddos. Those little games they're playing that are so simple. I just heard a story just recently where a couple, they were concerned because their daughter was playing a little game. She'd earned her time on the tablet or to be able to play a game. And when she did, this ad popped up and it was sexually explicit in this ad. And she brought it to her mom, and her mom said, okay, let's take that off, so they did. But later on, the parents decided to play the same game, and they played it for 45 minutes, and that ad never popped up one time, not once. There were things about agriculture, about cars, about, I don't know, all kinds of different things. But when the little girl got it again and the little daughter got it again, that ad immediately popped up. They're grooming your children with these little games. So I want you to be aware of it, because we need to be smart, and we need to be able to understand that when they're in their little rooms playing, you've got to protect your kids. And I'm not saying they shouldn't play their games. What I'm saying is you want to make sure that you're protecting your kids. I'm telling you, I woke up with it this morning, and I thought, we've got to alert everyone. Pay attention to what's going on with your kids with those little tablets, because everybody's now sheltering in place. The kids don't have anything to do. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to be socializing with other people. They're supposed to be out playing games and having fun and doing whatever they can. But now they've been, sequestered into their homes. And so here we are. So I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to realize that we're in a brand new season. We're in a new time. We're going to demask us. That means we're going to take our mask off. We're going to get real. We're going to put the oxygen mask, remember, on our face first. Oxygen mask on our face first, right? On us. Then we're going to put it on our kids. And we're going to put it on people that we're talking to. We're going to put it on people that are, we're going to do training, man. I'm raising up an army. I'm not raising up outreach teams anymore. I'm raising up an entire army to be able to engage the culture that we currently live in, unafraid, knowing who they are in God, who God is in them, and we're going for it. We're going to do this. I've already done it. I love it. It's very, very effective. I'm telling you, we're in a season now where miracles are going to happen. Signs, wonders, and miracles are going to take place. Dreams are being poured out. We're in the best time ever and the weirdest time ever. So we're finding new strategies from God on how he wants us to communicate with the world around us, that we are in desperate need of him. This is going to be part of the Great Awakening. This is one of the parts of the Great Awakening, along with a new sound. With every move, there's always a new sound. So we can't despise the new sound. It's going to come through the young people. It's not going to come through us, even though I love it. I love any kind of music. My kids have trained me to do that. My grandkids have trained me to do that. And, you used to grate on my nerves, and now I'm like, bring it. Let's just see what happens, So we get to have an incredible time for us to outreach, go where we can, we'll protest the protesting and see what happens, right? I mean, why not? It's just fun. Anyway, I'm just joking, but let's see what we can do. So go on my website, cindymiguel.org. We have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. I've got a book on dreams. A lot of people ask me about dreams all the time. Go on there, get the book, man. Get the book, read the book. It's easy to understand. Join the dream class. It's going to be July 16th at 1 p.m. And we're going to be joining with Belfast, Ireland. So if you want to be a part of the dream class, July 16th at 1 p.m., you will be listening, and we'll be instructing on dreams with Belfast, Ireland. Might as well reach the world, right? And then we're going to have another dream forum. We're going to begin to see what goes on, right? And in the meantime, we're going to host some more boot camps, some more training. We're going to start really digging in here. I want you to be equipped. I want you to come with me. I want you to be able to be effective. I want you to understand what the world really is thinking, what they're really like, because we're just seeing an outright expression of it. And I've been watching this for years. I've known it was coming. I knew something like this was going to happen. People bring their little children to Burning Man. I don't know if you know that, but they do. And so the little kids are trained from an early age that it's okay to live this way. Clothes, no clothes, it doesn't matter. So, all right. I love you guys so much. And thank you for tuning in. And we are going to be all about it. All right. So go back and watch the whole thing, I guess, from the beginning, and Is anything else? Oh, join the Shout. Sign up for the Shout. That's going to tell you where things are going on and what we're doing, and when we're going to have trainings and that kind of thing. And we're all over the place. So, all right. Love you guys. Peace out. And we will talk soon. Demask us. Number 3. Discernment, dreams, and direction. All right. Love you. Bye.